What's up, Olympic Nostalgia? Dave here in our podcast. What's going on in pop culture right now? I'm catching up on the past week. I had been away, so as a result, I have to touch on the Grammys, which is over a week old news at this point. Touch on that briefly, as well as Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show. 2 quick music reviews as well from Ive and Olly Alexander. Make sure you subscribe, youtube.com/nostalgiapod, linktree.com/nostalgiapod. See links below. Get the best of 2025 Spotify post link below, and let's get into it. What's up, Olympic Nostalgia? Dave here with a review of Ive's third Korean EP, Ive Empathy. I'm getting this one a week late. This came out back on the 3rd. Nonetheless, Ive, one of the most successful K-pop groups outside the Big Four system, as we know, the signature group on Starship Entertainment, have had a really meteoric rise with those early singles, a very anthemic sound, really struck a nerve more in Korea, more in Asia than it has the United States. They haven't really made a big impact here the way some of their peers have. Nonetheless, they're a really big deal in terms of just putting up, sales numbers and whatnot. They're a popular group for sure. I've always been so on Ive to this point. I haven't really loved anything they've done. Some of their big songs, like After I think are good and all. Like, they have good songs. I liked Ice Queen last time around, but they haven't really wowed me the way some of their peers have. So, but I think that also kind of speaks to the high bar that we hold these days for K-pop groups, especially newer ones, where there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of great groups, and even being just good might not be enough for some people. Nonetheless, Ive Empathy, it's here. Ive's third Korean EP, Ive Empathy, is the continuation of what they were doing last year, which was a expansion, a diversification of their sound, really debuting before with an anthemic sound. They've since broken off from that a little bit more. There's a bit more hip hop. There's still a lot of sampling, like high profile samples is seemingly becoming one of their trademarks for sure. I like the group. I don't think the lead single, Rebel Heart, is quite as strong as some of their other singles. With Rebel Heart, you have that pulsing bass under the guitar line. Guitar is very noticeable on this release. The chanty, shouty chorus, though, it's up-tempo, but the hook's just not there. This isn't as grating as Baddie's chorus, for example, but to me, this song just feels a bit underserved by its chorus. I did like the melodic outro, though. Track 2, Flew. I love the kick drums with the tambourine combo, keeping the up-tempo vibe once again. The second verse, I thought the rap delivery was really fun. I thought the flow hit really well. I liked that a lot. Track 3, You Wanna Cry. This one's interesting because it starts slow, guitar and drums kind of drop in, and then the chorus is the same melody as Whitney Houston's I Wanna Dance With Somebody. It's not something I was expecting. I didn't see that credited yet, but even though they're singing Korean, it is the same exact melody. Of course, a very strong melody to say the least. I don't hate it. Sounded pretty good. Thank You is a bit of a slower one, synths into guitar once again. Attitude, once again, big sample here. You have the Suzanne Vega Tom's Diner sample, an iconic sample we've heard 100 times at this point. Back up tempo as well. To me, though, the chorus, again, a bit underwritten, a bit the weakest part of the song, despite the fact that the rap verse in verse 2 I thought was also pretty good. So another song I think could have been better. And then the last track, TKO, I think this has got to be my favorite of the 6. It's another rap track, very bouncy. I also really enjoyed the fun vocal harmonies that you get on this. And overall, I think it's the best chorus on the release. It's just the stickiest, But yeah, I don't really have any differing thoughts on Ive at this point. They kind of seem like a group that are kind of passing me by. They're just not really a group I revisit all that much. I keep checking for them. I respect the success to this point, but just really haven't grabbed me the way a lot of their peers have. But obviously, I'm just one listener. There's a lot of people that really, really vibe with them for sure. And if you're one of those, let me know. What did you like about Ive Empathy? What stood out to you the most? Let me know. For more music reviews, more K-pop reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. What's up, Olympic Nostalgia? Dave here with a review of Olly Alexander's 4th album, Polari. Is it the 4th album from Olly Alexander? I think it is. Olly Alexander, of course, used to be the frontman of the group Years and Years. The last album, Night Call from 2022, was Olly without his group members, but still using the Years and Years name. Now he's dropped that, going by his own name. If you look on Spotify and digital streaming platforms, all the Years and Years albums are now under Olly. So I think he's taken over the act, so to speak, from a legal matter. Interesting. A bit different from how Aluna George went, where they broke up and Aluna started making music separately under her own name. Either way, I of course have always been looking forward to hearing more from Years and Years and Olly Alexander because, man, those first two Years and Years albums are awesome. There are some bangers on there. King, one of the great EDM anthems of the last 10 years to me. A lot of other songs I liked: Karma, Take Shelter, Sanctify. They got some joints. Nightcall, the last album, the first Olly solo joint, was solid but not quite as strong to me. And now we're back once again with Polari. Of course, Olly, a few years ago, one of the stars of HBO's It's a Sin, proving to be a true multi-hyphenate person, but of course he's a musician first. I'm always checking for the music more than anything else. Olly Alexander is back with his fourth album, Polari, his first under his own name, and it's a bit of a grab bag, honestly. This is very much Olly's club record, a lot of 80s inspiration here. Not quite as synth pop as the early Years and Years music. This is definitely a lot more higher tempo for the most part. Olly working with Danny Harrell from PC Music to make this album. Despite this album being very up-tempo for the most part, I also found it getting a little bit samey, lacking just a little bit of what grabbed you about the early Years and Years music. That being said, I like the storytelling that Olly gives us, a lot about his own personal life as a gay man, what kind of romance he can find himself in, and all of that. I think that stuff's strong. Production-wise, though, a lot of songs just blended together for me. I like this album more than Nightcall overall. I think it is still a bit more engaging, a bit more pulsing, but I do think we're a step below the first two Years and Years albums. Going through some of the tracks here, you have Polari, the first track, the title track. Love the drums, very energetic, but the song's a bit short. Cupid's Bow, love the drum line, pulsing bass once again. The mix fading in and out, I think, was a nice touch as well. Track 3, I Know, I love the vocal breakdown, but it's a bit repetitive, a bit underwritten for me. Shadow of Love, probably like a deep house song as far as this album's concerned, a bit of an outlier. I think the best song overall, though, has to be track 5, Make Me a Man. Love the guitar with the bass. I think great vocals from Olly. Lyrically, love the storytelling he's giving you here. This is a club banger, but also one with some substance behind it. To me, that's the highlight. After that, you get Dizzy, which was actually Olly and the United Kingdom's Eurovision submission that flopped to, I believe, 18th place. That song was kind of critically panned within the Eurovision context, but still included here on the album. You gotta respect the dedication to push it forward once again. But yeah, I mean, other than that, from there, the album really kind of loses me, to be honest. Again, production-wise, still up tempo, still like energetic, but kind of falls into the same rhythms and patterns, and it just doesn't really rise above what I would like. But I am holding it to a high bar because I love some of the early stuff so much. Let me know though, what'd you think of Olly Alexander's Polari? What was your favorite song? What did you like most about it? And for more music reviews, subscribe. And I'll see you next time. What's up, Welcome back to Nostalgia. Dave here with my reactions to the 2025 Grammys. I'm getting to this over a week late because I was away, so I will keep this brief. That being said, following a slate of nominees that were largely pretty agreeable, pretty correct, pretty representative of what the previous year in pop music represented, honestly, the winners were largely the right calls as well. I'm pretty happy with what happened. Album of the Year does in fact go to Beyonce for Cowboy Carter. That was the pick I wanted. That was the pick that made the most sense. At last, Beyonce wins Album of the Year. Did she win for her best album? No. Just like Martin Scorsese didn't win Best Picture, for his best movie either, winning for The Departed, right? This is Al Pacino winning for Scent of a Woman. This is what happens sometimes with award shows, and this is what happens when you have Beyonce previously lose to Beck and Harry Styles. So this is what you get. On the other hand, did I have Beyonce number 2 on my list last year? I did. I also had Brat number 1, which would have been an amazing Album of the Year win. But I think this is a very just and well-earned win, and it's about damn time. Now, the big surprise, I think, is that Kendrick, with Not Like Us, wins both Record and Song of the Year. I had predicted him to win one. I'm trying to remember which one I picked. It's always so hard to parse between the two. I want to say I picked Song. Nonetheless, he wins both, which is pretty big. And yes, Kendrick is a Grammy darling, as we know. But, given everyone else he was going up against, the fact that it's a rap song, rap doesn't usually come to the top when it comes to the general field, even when it's Kendrick Lamar. Um, it's still a bit of a surprise, but we will take it nonetheless. I was kind of expecting like a Good Luck Babe or a Birds of a Feather to win one of these. Nonetheless, here we are. I'll take it. Best New Artist goes to Chapel Roan. I think that made a lot of sense. That's what I had picked. And then you contrast that with Sabrina winning in the pop vocal categories. It's cool that they both kind of got some love there. I like it. Producer of the Year, Dan Nigro. Songwriter of the Year, Amy Allen. I mean, those were the clear, obvious picks. We'll take both of those. Pop duo performance went to Bruno and Lady Gaga. Again, makes a lot of sense given the reverence for them. Not a surprise. Best Dance Electronic Recording goes to Neverender by Justice and Tame Impala. I personally would have preferred Fred Again and Baby Keem Would Leave Me Alone. Nonetheless, it's okay. And then Charlie still gets some love with Best Dance Electronic Album for Brat and Dance Pop Recording for Von Dutch. So again, like a lot of love was spread. I'd have to say, again, Sabrina winning pop vocal for Short and Sweet, as well as pop solo performance for Espresso. Like, well, they spread the love in a nice way. Best R&B album, bit of a surprise. 11:11 going to Chris Brown. I had been predicting Mooney Long's Revenge. Kendrick, of course, winning rap performance and rap song for Not Like Us. That was obvious the whole time. Melodic rap performance went to Rhapsody and Erykah Badu by 3 a.m. Wasn't sure about that. I think I had picked Beyonce and Shabuzi with Spaghetti. Best rap album, very happy this one went to Doechii for Alligator Bites Never Heal. That one made the most sense. Again, of course, Kendrick's GNX won't be nominated for that category until next time around. And of the 4 country genre categories, Beyonce wins 2 of them. Country album, obviously, as well as country duo group performance for Two Most Wanted between her and Miley, which I love as well. That's great. One of my favorite songs on the album. We did have a surprise in Musica Urbana category where Bad Bunny does not win by Nadie Sabe. It actually goes to Residente, Las Letras Ya No Importan, which I think was one of the that was like the savvy pick, but that was not what we predicted to happen. So it's kind of a cool win nonetheless. Similarly, Best African Music Performance, the winner is Thames with Love Me JJ. I was, expecting higher from Burna Boy to win because Burna always dominates this category. But that's another pretty cool win. I love that Thames album. So yeah, we'll take it. So yeah, I mean, basically all the categories I went through, and I predicted for, even the ones I predicted wrong, like it's hard to be too critical. And I think the overall narrative is that the Grammys are kind of getting it right. I mean, if you watch some of the acceptance speeches and the introductions and transitions across the show, they make a big point of saying how this is voted on by the Recording Academy. It's a very vast body. This is not the old-timey, very male-focused group of the past. And you think about the performances of the show, letting all the Best New Artist nominees perform and not forcing them to do something with some old head from the 70s. We're dealing with a different Grammys. So, pretty successful. Next time around, we'll have Kendrick's GNX. And is anything else on the horizon yet? It's basically everything from the fall onward. I don't think anything else. Oh, of course, Bad Bunny's album from last month will certainly be in the mix, and that's more traditional. So I have a feeling he might be able to get back an album of the year with that one. We'll see. Of course, more time to tell. There'll be some big artists. We'll talk about it. Come back if you like the awards. Oscars right around the corner. Oscar predictions coming up. But yeah, let me know what you think of the 2025 Grammys. Are you largely happy with the results like me? Let me know. And for more awards talk and music reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. What's up, Walmart Nostalgia? Dave here with a review reaction of Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show. Kendrick Lamar returning to the Super Bowl halftime show after being a part of Dr. Dre's LA halftime show 3 years ago. And this halftime show caps the whirlwind year that Kendrick Lamar just has. And this halftime show represents a lot of things. I think it's a very interesting show, a show that I liked overall. My biggest criticism of Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show is I didn't think the lighting was great. It did look a little bit dark. I think compared to what people used to say about Game of Thrones, the Battle of Castle Black, that actually wasn't that dark. This was kind of dark sometimes. Like, I don't know. I just wish he was a little more well lit, because the staging, the presentation of the show very visually interesting, as we come to expect from Kendrick. He's a great performer, great with his breath control, effortlessly censoring and changing words to be able to perform his songs on national television. It was really good. And if you just think about the past week that Kendrick had, Not Like Us wins 4 Grammy Awards, including Record and Song of the Year, and then he caps off the Super Bowl halftime show, 120 million plus viewers, performing Not Like Us. Again, a diss track in hip hop, a diss track of nominally the largest rapper in the world. And yes, he calls him out by name. Yes, he still drags all of Drake's friends and cohorts like he does in the actual song. And the whole notion of would Kendrick play Not Like Us at the halftime show? Will he do it? He actually plays into what I think was a pretty ludicrous notion that he actually wouldn't play it. He plays into it with this Uncle Sam motif portrayed by Samuel L. Jackson. And do I think like thematically, like concept wise, this halftime show completely come together? I don't think so. Like I think it was a bit vague overall in terms of all that kind of stuff. A little half baked, you could say. But at the end of the day, though, what is he doing? Well, he's playing all the GNX era music, and GNX, the album, of course, is just a bunch of bangers in the mold of Not Like Us. Of course, the most commercial song of Kendrick's career since Humble went 2 times Diamond or whatever. So as a result, what you get is you don't get Kendrick playing all his classic hits. You know, we didn't get Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe or Money Trees. We didn't get All Right, for example. Did still get Humble. And I think that's interesting, right? Like if Kendrick did a complete greatest hits set list, he would have done it differently. He played a lot of stuff off GNX. Peekaboo, Luther with SZA, ending with TV Off, which I think was quite notable. He didn't end with Not Like Us. He transitioned out with the Mustard Drop into TV Off. He played the set list that made the most sense for the past year that he just had, which is pretty cool. And I think you think about like the era, the everything that happened with Not Like Us, right? The lawsuits from Drake. It's hilarious shit, right? And I guess the question now remains is like, will Kenny stop playing Not Like Us now? Again, noticeably transitioning out of the song to start with TV Off to actually end the halftime show set. I think about the Pop Out concert back in June where he played the song like 6 times in a row in LA. The fact that this was a LA Compton forward show, as much as he could make it anyway. Like again, this doesn't really compare to the Dr. Dre halftime show. Nonetheless, you have the American flag imagery. You have Drake's ex, Serena Williams, Compton native, or born and raised in Compton, crip walking a little bit at the end there. This was kind of all about the past year that he had, and I'm curious now if Kendrick will move past this song, and we'll have to see. We'll find out pretty soon, of course. Him and SZA are going on a international stadium tour that's been announced. They just added more dates in Europe and whatnot. So we'll find out soon enough. I'd be curious, though, about that. SZA as a special guest, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right? It's also awesome that Kendrick is still completely cool with everyone on TDE, despite leaving the label several years ago at this point. They did All the Stars from the Black Panther soundtrack. They did Luther off GNX. Neither one of those is my favorite song, to be honest. Frankly, I think it would have been a lot cooler if SZA did like fucking Broken Clocks or Chill Bill, one of her bigger own bangers, because she is arguably the biggest R&B singer we have right now outside of like Beyonce. So, these are like kind of like lesser songs in the SZA catalog, all things considered. It was fine. In terms of like the best Super Bowl halftime shows of all time, of course, we just watched it. We need more time to think about it. But the Dr. Dre show to me stands alone because of how singular it is in terms of actually mattering to LA, the LA Super Bowl happening in Inglewood. The LA Rams happen to even be playing in the show. That part's a coincidence. But then you have Dre with Snoop Dogg, with special guest unannounced 50 Cent, with Eminem, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar, all of the proteges of Aftermath and Dre, doing an LA show. I mean, to me, that was the pinnacle. That was probably the pinnacle of hip hop at the Super Bowl halftime show as well. Kendrick is one of the few rappers that actually could headline his own halftime show. I don't know how many others we can really think about. Obviously Drake has the stature, but would they do it now? I don't know. Other than him, Jay-Z, of course, obviously. Would he ever do it? His wife has done it. Rihanna has done it. They seem to be back in good graces with The Rock. We'll see. At the end of the day, I think it was a really cool execution. I still really enjoyed the presentation. Even conceptually, I don't think it was as rock solid as what Dre did. Now, I did see some ridiculous comments about people like not knowing what Kendrick was saying at times. I think that's just obviously from people who don't fucking listen to his music. We don't really care about your opinion on the matter. And of course, now comes a time, well, who else should do the Super Bowl halftime show? Obviously, Taylor Swift will do it eventually. You do it for free, after all, so it doesn't really make sense to do it in the middle of a lot of touring. So we got to give a little bit of time for the Eras Tour. Maybe once Travis Kelce retires, it'll make sense for Taylor to do it. She's the obvious one, right? Adele, an obvious one, as long as she doesn't retire. Other than them, who else? Who else really makes sense? Because we've done all the legacy acts, we've done all the really old groups, right? And frankly, J-Lo and Shakira a few years ago was a really nice poll to kind of harken back to that. Who else could you do? Would they ever do Bad Bunny? Will they ever do a Spanish halftime show? Consider me skeptical of that ever happening, although that'd be fucking sick. Who else could they do? Is Justin Bieber quite on that level? Don't know. And I'd like it, but I don't know if he's there. Could Rihanna do it a second time? Doubtful, considering how disinterested she seems in music in general these days. Anti came out in the Obama administration, as we know, so it's been a minute. Don't know about Ree. Who else, right? Gaga did it. Katy Perry did it. Taylor will do it one day. Adele, we hope. Who else, though? Usher. That was a great legacy pick last year, right? Long overdue, in fact. Who else, though, right? I mean, frankly, we had the ridiculous notion that because the Super Bowl we just watched was happening in New Orleans, this should have been a Lil Wayne headline Super Bowl, Cash Money Forward Super Bowl, right? Shout out Master P and whatnot. It's kind of nonsense because Lil Wayne's been washed as a performer. He's fine as a feature artist sometimes, but just not comparable. That would not have gone that well, as we know. We just saw what Kendrick could do. So I never really bought into that. But I don't know, who else is in the mix, Well, it makes sense to do Drake one day just because he has the hits. He's not quite on this level as a performer, but he could pull it off, Maybe one day it'll be some super pop, basic ass group that's kind of lame, like Imagine Dragons or some shit. I don't know. Would somebody who's massive but doesn't fit the traditional vibe like Billie Eilish do it one day? Yeah, Billie will probably do it, right? I mean, god damn it, she's still under 25, right? She's so young still. All those accolades, well, I bet she will do it one day. Maybe next time they have one in LA. I don't know. Just thinking about the Grammy nominees the last few years, I don't know. We're kind of grasping at straws. It's fascinating as we tap out of all the old stars of yesteryear and we try and grab the stars we have now, and it reminds you of the common talking point we've had for some time now, which is that we don't have as many stars as we used to. And that's the case in rap, obviously. So I've been saying that a lot, Apologies, but Gunna and Lil Baby are never doing the halftime show, right? Could J. Cole do it? Maybe. But who else, right? Bad Bunny, Burna Boy, fucking BTS. They're never going to do something so foreign. So that's not going to happen. So I just don't know. Harry Styles, probably an oversight on my part the past 5 minutes. He'll do it one day, I'm sure, given his massive fame. That one makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I'm curious. What do you think? What do you want to see? Let me know. But yeah, shout out Kendrick. I enjoyed the show. Again, I think just this iconic kind of instant classic smile as Kendrick says, "Hey Drake," in front of 120 million people on the halftime show. And subsequently, calls out Baca and Chubbs and fucking Party Next Door. Fucking hilarious shit, man. What a cap off to the beef the year Kendrick had. And he earned it. And he delivered. Let me know, though, what you think of the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show. Who do you want to see do the halftime show next? Let me know. And for more music reviews, subscribe. And I'll see you next time. All right, that's going to do for the pod this week. Next week, we have a much more robust slate. Marvel's back with Captain America Brave New World. The White Lotus returns on HBO for season 3. Paddington 3, Paddington in Peru is here. Bunch of music from Jisoo, Jungha, Alessia Cara. New Apple movie, The Gorge, with Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy. Stuff to get to, and we'll get to it. So make sure you subscribe. YouTube.com/nostalgiapod, Linktree.com/nostalgiapod. See the links below. Get the best of 2025 Spotify playlist linked below. Let me know it's good, and I'll see you next week.